have to take accountability for yourself and make a decision if you are going to accept that behavior or not. Hey, it's me. So, I was thinking about relationships and loyalty. Like, have you ever been cheated on before? You've been in a relationship, you think it's going well, and then you find out that they cheated on you or that they are cheating on you. And then it's just like this overflow of emotions. Like, one moment you might feel hurt, the next moment you're angry or you're sad or you're upset, disappointed, confused, and you're just like all over the place. And I've just really been thinking about, like, why do people cheat? Like, no one wants to be cheated on, so why do it? I feel like there's a few reasons. And the reasons or excuses, whatever you want to call them, it could be like they feel unhappy in the relationship, or like they were going through a rough patch and had a quote unquote weak moment. They're feeling like their desires aren't being met, and that could be sexually or emotionally. And they feel like they are missing something, or they feel like they're not compatible, or they've been together for a while and they have a lot of history, so they don't really want to end it. Or it could be that they feel like, the grass is greener on the other side, and they're not ready to settle down yet, but they really don't want you to be with anyone else, so they're trying to like stay in the middle and like do both. And maybe they're just selfish, or they struggle with monogamy. I don't know. It could be a lot of reasons, but I want to say cheating is not a mistake. Cheating is not a mistake or an accident. It's a choice. A decision was made. Now, they may regret it immediately after, but that is not a mistake. It was a poor decision. And it could have resulted for many reasons, but I feel like half the time it could result from there's some form of unsatisfaction in their relationship. And I'm not saying that makes it okay, because it's not. As I said, it was a poor decision. And they may feel, like their needs aren't being met. And it may not be from a lack of trying. It can be a lot of different things. Sometimes there are these unspoken expectations in relationships, that your partner will behave in a certain way. And there's these assumptions made of how they should interact with you. And that's kind of the problem sometimes in relationship, that we have these expectations and these things are unspoken. And from that, they may end up feeling unappreciated or, neglected or left out from something that you didn't even know was bothering them, or you didn't even realize was important to them. And no, we can't just assume that they should know, because we all place importance on things differently. Hence, we all have different love languages. How we receive love, or the actions that make us feel loved, are all different for each and every person. So that person, they may go out and cheat, and in the reality, or possibility rather, I should say, is that they have felt, unappreciated. And for them, they have kind of had their emotions on the back burner in this slow cooker, marinating on these feelings for such a long time that they kind of just overflow into where they feel like cheating is the thing that they do next. I feel like that can come from a result of not being able to communicate their needs. Like, at the end of the day, it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the person that was cheated on. Like, it's not your fault that they couldn't communicate properly. It's not your fault that they decided to stay in the relationship and still step out on you. It's not your fault that these things happened, because to me, that is a communication issue. When they got into that relationship, they made that commitment, and when they cheated, they chose to step outside of it. And when cheating happens, you have to come to this decision of like, what next? Do you stay? Do you go? Do you take a break? Do you start over? And, it's not an easy answer. And when someone chooses to step outside of a commitment, there is a conversation that should be had. It really should be had prior, preferably, and not after, but either way. A conversation needs to be had. And usually, there's no perfect person in a relationship, right? There's all something that we can be doing better, working on, growing, but there is an accountability that has to be had. So when you're at that point, like when you're trying to figure out what's next, really not an easy answer. It may help for them to have full disclosure. Like, they may want to know why they were cheated on, who the person that you cheated with, how long was it going on or happening for. And it can kind of depend, like addressing those feelings, that led up to it. And if it's them feeling like emotionally distant from you, it's depending on if it can be something that can be worked on, or if it's something like they feel like they're just not ready to settle down in a relationship, then it's probably really not best for them. Because if you don't really feel like you're ready to settle down in a relationship, you might not be with the right person, or it just might be timing. It just might not be the time for you to be in a relationship. It may be better for you to be single instead of trying to be in these two spots. And sometimes you may feel like this obligation or this duty to someone because you've been with them, or whatever else the scenario or situation may be. But if you're not ready, you're not ready. And you should communicate it and leave. And of course, it's not as simple as that, but that's really the steps that should be taken. If you do decide that you are going to stay with someone who cheated, because, like I said, it's a decision that has to be made there, then I feel like the person who cheated has to take accountability for what they've done. Like, if they can't take accountability, and if they just want to place blame or make excuses, or if they want to kind of stay like somewhat justified in their action, what would prevent them from doing it again? What would prevent them from arriving at that same conclusion months from now, years from now, or whenever, and making that same justification that it's okay for them to cheat again? If they're not willing to take any accountability, and they feel kind of justified in it because they feel like you didn't do this or you didn't do that, or they were unhappy with whatever, so they feel like their cheating is okay, probably not the type of person that you want to give a second chance to. They're showing you where their mind is at. They're showing you who they are. And at this point, you have to take accountability for yourself and make a decision if you are going to accept that behavior or not. You may love them, you may want to be with them, you may have children or a home together. It's not going to be an easy decision. For some people, it will depend. For some people, for them to get past it, they need to know all of the details, where others, they just really don't want to know anything at all. But if you need to know the details, then it's a conversation that needs to be had so you guys can move forward. Like, are you ready to actually try again? Because if you are going to take someone back after cheating, you can't just hold it over their head and throw it back in their face all the time. And I put up a dating story which went into a scenario that I had, where I found out that this guy actually had a girlfriend. And in this situation, she kept taking him back pretty much again and again and again. And she kept saying how he would always lie about it, or how he would always say that he didn't do it, or like he would always make up these excuses and these reasons. And the way that I kind of think about things is this: if someone cheats on you and you feel like they did it, you found out the first time, whatever the scenario was, and you want to give them a second chance, they said whatever they said, okay. But if it happens a second, third, fourth, fifth, I mean, I really feel like after the first time, they're creating a pattern. But you're going to have to make a decision if essentially you are okay with being cheated on. Because half the time, I feel like the person that ends up leaving or ending it is the person that was cheating. The person that was cheating basically will continue to cheat again and again in some scenarios. And they will just keep taking them back and taking them back and taking them back and hoping that they would change. Hoping that someone would change is not resolution to the problem. Hoping that someone would change is not an answer. And like I said, half the time, they're probably not even taking accountability. They're probably making up reasons and excuses of why they feel kind of justified in doing what they did, or trying to gift it all away and blow it over like it never happened. So accountability kind of comes in twofold, because if you are a person that's being cheated on and you keep taking that guy, that girl, that whoever back, that man, that woman, whoever back after they cheat on you again and again and again and again, you're basically enabling them. You're basically telling them, it's okay, you can cheat on me, and I'm going to get upset and mad at you, and then I'm going to take you right back, and we're going to continue living our life as we have been living. You can do whatever you want to me, I'm going to stay here. And like I said, it gets at a point where you can no longer blame that person for cheating on you, because you are now complicit in their actions. And just like most people, I have been cheated on. So in one of my previous relationships, he cheated. And after I found out, he, would apologize, and he just kept asking for forgiveness. But in that same sentence, he would also say he didn't do it. He would also say, no, that didn't happen. That's not what it was. But I found out because I saw the messages. So it was like this weird half accountability. And it really made me feel like I was losing my mind. Because, of course, I was in love. This was someone that I cared about. This was someone that I did not expect this from. So when he's putting me in this weird half-truth of, I'm apologizing and I'm sorry and all this and that, but then also saying, no, I didn't do it, it didn't happen. The reason why I bring this up is because it took him some time to realize that. So he continued to, I was in school, college at the time. And like literally, we used to like walk to class together, all this stuff. And I would be like on the way to my classes. He would be like at my class waiting to talk to me in the building or whatever else, because I just wasn't answering his calls and his messages. And after like 2 weeks of him apologizing, but then also saying that he didn't do it, even though I saw the messages, after 2 weeks, he finally came clean and told the full truth and took accountability. He came clean, and he said how he didn't really realize before, and he was glad that I didn't like take him back initially, because it took him some time to like actually realize like what he was doing and how he was lying and all of that stuff. And now he realizes, and he like told the truth. And for some people, that could be the situation. They may have that time apart from you and realize like, okay, they're not going to allow me to treat them this way. I'm going to have to get it together if I want to be back with them. And they may actually jump into shape and get it together, or they may not. Now, ultimately, I didn't end up getting back together with him. And it can really, like I said, be different for different people. Like sometimes therapy may be the answer, and other times a clean break is the answer. And being cheated on can affect how someone goes forward and how they view relationships. Like, have you ever dated someone and you could tell by how they acted they had been cheated on? I have. Like, I remember that I dated this guy, and I would say that he was literally like emotionally incapacitated. Emotionally incapacitated by the cheating from his ex. And I say that because he was just overly suspicious of everything. Oh, you're short? My ex, she was short too. Oh, you're that horoscope sign? My ex, she was that horoscope sign too. Oh, you like this type of food? My ex liked that type of food too. Oh, you're probably manipulative just like she was manipulated. You're probably going to cheat on me just like she cheated. You're probably going to do this just like how. And it was just like all of these insinuations. And I was just like, there's thousands of people who like sushi or who like pizza or who have the same, like, I understand being hurt, and I understand how that clearly can affect someone, but just as they say, you can't bring your old baggage into a new relationship. And I mean that in the fact that you can't take out the emotional trauma that woman clearly had on you, on me, and expect for me to resolve it. Like, you can't expect me to pay for her sins because I didn't do it. So it's literally impossible for me to ever pay for it. But even more important, it's even impossible for me to ever make you feel better because I can't give you what you need. Because the healing that you need is from another person in another situation. I can't heal the hurt that she caused. You have to heal that within yourself. I can't fix it for you because I didn't do it. And like in these situations, they completely deny the chance to actually get to know you. And they make these assumptions about your character. And they're just so stuck in their emotional trauma. And they just can't see the possibility of anything outside of it. And this also reminds me of another guy that I met. And he was so stuck in who he used to be. And I'm not sure that he even realized that he wasn't that person anymore. So this guy, he was cheated on by someone that he like really liked and really cared about, and he felt really played, as most people do. And he was like very unemotional, and he just had like this one-track mind. I could be talking about hand sanitizer, and he would find a way to make it about sex. Like, seriously. He just had everything somehow came back to sex. And it really didn't take that long for me to end it with him and just kind of let him know, like, look, we really don't match, and you're really just really overly sexual, and that's just too much for me. Like, it just wasn't working. And when I ended it, I remember him going like on and on about him being like this great guy. And the thing is, maybe he was. Maybe he was. But right now, the person that I was getting was a shell of what he was telling me he was in his former self. So the point that I am making with this is stop cheating on people. Stop cheating on people, because all that happens is it ends up confusing people, and half the time you end up corrupting the good ones, where the good ones aren't even good anymore, or they can't even see the good in front of their face because now they're so skeptical they don't think anyone can be good. Stop cheating on people. the more that this happens like this, it's almost like people start to feel like cheating is okay. Like it gets to this weird point of like, well, it happens. No. I mean, if you're a person who you want to accept it, accept it. That's your business, live your life. But it's not okay. Learn how to communicate, learn how to express yourself, evaluate the situation, and if it's not working for you, move on. And if it makes you miserable to remain faithful to someone, it's probably time to go. End the relationship and save everyone else the future trouble. Anyways, these are just my random thoughts.